Underdog Daily. Badge Bros here. Roto Run, solo run. Our guy Nezzy Takes is taking in the ball game this evening, flying over to Pittsburgh, going to the hometown, going to the ball game this evening. But it's Christmas morning around here for us because we got tons of new contests in the lobby there. We got the full weekend PGA events up there. And then we got the Dinger, our favorite contest, my favorite contest on the platform. The running joke for years has been, it is a long con that we do all these other sports. It's the long con to do all these other sports just to get to baseball season. And we're officially here because the flagship contest is up in the lobbies and it's got a new look to it this year. A new look in which I'm quite fond of. I'm not going to lie here. $15 price point instead of 10. We cut about 20,000 entries out of the contest, but then somehow still hashtag made it bigger with 1.25 million in prizes and 200K to first time we've ever had a 200K to first MLB prize pool. So pretty stoked about this. We also got the bunt up there as well. 20 max contest, $3 price point. Really good. Just like get your feet wet contest, get used to the drafting landscape, get familiar with the ADP and that sort of thing, and then jump into the Dinger. So pretty excited about that. We'll do our usual thing here with 6 games of NBA first, and then we will go in and draft a Dinger here and make the most of that. Normally we would do some form of winner circle and whatnot, but the football contests have not finished yet. We could take a little live look at what's going on with me. I think it's an absolute bloodbath for your boy this weekend. I don't really know where I went wrong, to be honest. I haven't looked at it in detail yet. Maybe I just drafted a little too chalky. Maybe I had too much Devontae Adams. That's for damn sure. But yeah, I don't fully know where I went terribly wrong, and yet I don't think I'm gonna have any sweats tonight, especially given how few Steelers and Texans I drafted. But hey, never say never. It just takes one. Right, but we'll tap in here. As you guys can see, I had $1,300 in play over the weekend here, and it looks like I'm winning about $140. So not great, Bob, not great. We rolled a terrible draft slot in the QB sneak here, and we wound up doing a Justin Herbert skinny stack there. The Justin Herbert stuff aged like milk. We could take a look at the overall exposures that I cooked up over the weekend here. All in all, decent weekend of football, man. Pretty fun weekend of football. Some fun games mixed in there. College football playoffs as well. Like the Miami game was really good on Thursday night. Man, it's a lot of time commitment though. It is a lot of time to watch 5 island games. Well, I guess we're going to end up having, if you watched both the college football ones and then you watched all 6 of the island games, 4 hours a clip. Yesterday was a fucking shift. Like the boys came over at 10 a.m. on the West Coast here for that first ball game. And man, that was a shift to just get through like 2.5 games. We watched 2.5 games together and it's like a full day endeavor. Like we had 3 meals together. Like it's just holy, man. I miss a little Red Zone Sunday. I'm not going to lie, where you're bouncing around by all the action. But all in all, some good ball games there. We immediately see where we went wrong here. Devonta Smith did a little bit, but not much. A.J. Brown did nothing. George Kittle got hurt on the field, and now there's all these conspiracies about how close to the power plant and such that field is. Devontae Adams did absolutely nothing and cucked us. And then Ramondre, I thought Ramondre was a decent play. He had an okay night last night, but nothing to write home about. I guess Colston Loveland was basically my only half decent pick out of all of this. And not gonna love that. A good amount of Josh Allen, which aged okay, but his score was matched by Jordan Love. Not enough Coker, that's for sure. What do we got? We had 4% Coker. Could have had more there. Didn't have any Chuba. So yeah, this is gonna be a rough one. This is gonna wind up being a rough one for your boy. Let's tap in on what the main BR leader looks like right now. Oh, here you go. Top stat NFT. Been around for a long time there. Gets the Jordan Love double stack with the double scroll the F down. Reed and Dobbs, shout out there. Parker Washington, CMC, and Loveland. So that's looking like a pretty strong team to hold on this evening. Yeah, man, double scroll. Shout out to the scroll community. We talked about it on Friday's show. That, man, what a great week for scrolls. And yeah, there you go. PD Boy's up here with the scroll stuff. He liked the Jaden Reed play a lot. He liked the Jordan Love, wrote it up in the gems there. So yeah, all in all, yeah, it's gonna be hard to find who's got points remaining. Nobody on the first page has points remaining. Holy smokes. Yeah, I mean, as long as this game doesn't go nuke tonight, yeah, we will see. Yeah, Chuba at 0.69% owned. That's wild, man. That's great. Big sweats tonight for the Viper. Love to see it, man. I haven't tapped in on my best ball stuff. I know BBM DB, our guy Pat Donovan, did some nice major updates to the site there. So if you're sweating along, make sure you guys tap into that. But yeah, we will see. Yeah, the DeMarcus Robinson, man, that was, I told you guys that the scrolls were not that crazy in the season long or in the playoff stuff. I told you guys the scrolls weren't crazy, man. DeMarcus Robinson was going to play, and he had the same touchdown odds as Ricky Pearsall if they were both going to play. He goes pretty nuke in that one. Yeah, Niners stuff looking pretty nice right now. If you were able to, fade George Kittle, and you did it with like CMC and 2 pass catchers and Purdy, got that 4-man Niners thing going through there. But yeah, happy Dinger Day to all who celebrate. Great day indeed. Looking forward to looking forward to maxing this contest, guys. I'm trying my hardest this year. I said it. This is my favorite contest on the site. I love it, man. Let's try our best to win the damn thing this year. Why not, right? I'm gonna give this a little screen change. Sorry, 1 second. I'm doing something on my own accord, and then we will hop into hoops. Didn't play a ton of hoops over the weekend there. I think I jammed on Friday's slate. Let me see here. Oh, that's in the live results. NBA. Take a look here. I think we had like a pseudo sweat on Friday night. And then I played a lot of hockey on the weekend / watched a lot of football. So I did not jam a ton of the slates there, but we will. What's going on here, guys? There we go. Yeah, so Friday was able to get 50 in on Friday there. Shout out to Vin DP. Always flirting with the top there. Gets a Derek Queen swap, who was somehow only 63% drafted. Obviously, this drafted was a little bit earlier in the day there. Gets the Kawhi Leonard Q tag fall, gets the LeBron James P tag fall, gets the Trey Murphy Q tag fall. Trey Murphy really broke the slate there. Needed to pair 2 Pelicans together on Friday night slate, which is, something you don't really say all that often. My highest team was in 34th there. Was charging a little bit there. Did a lot of Jalen Williams there without SGA. I was able to get the double Porter fall and then Trey Murphy late. So I was charging at the tail end there with Luka and Kevin Porter Jr. And I think I was an unblocked team. I was the only guy who had both kind of charging up the leaderboard, and then it kind of fell flat as the evening went on. But yeah, not bad for your boy there. Yeah, this is an interesting question here. Michael's saying 72 days till Dinger closes to help your plan. So that's actually a good shout there. Yeah, thank you for that. So I mean, basically 2 a day, guys. So we are not at the luxury of NFL season and BBM style drafting there, where you can just leisurely take your time. You're gonna have to do 2-3 a day. You're gonna have some days where you do 5 to 10 of them, but the sickos will be in here and truly love it. I'm gonna drop a couple of resources in the chat as we go, but I think one, now just we're talking about it. Someone put it in the Discord. I think it was Jasta. Shout out to Jasta, a Dog Bowl participant this year there. I'm gonna drop this in the chat right there. he put together the Excel sheet. I just went ahead and put it in a Google Doc and then just made it shareable for all. So if you guys want to take a look at, that's the entirety of Dinger playoff schedule. And I just kind of like took a light brief look at it. We'll take a look at it in a little bit here while we are drafting, and just take a look at, who's playing at Colorado, where are the good matchups. One I first noticed was Cardinals at Colorado in the finals there. That was one that jumped out to me. Anyways, we'll go through it in a bit here. Boston closes the Dinger. So Red Sox close the Dinger final stretch, final series. I guess it's 4. Let me see here. I'll just bring it up for everybody. I can see a bunch of you jumping into the sheet right now as we speak. Okay. Rockies at Detroit, at Yankees to close. Yikes. Baltimore goes to Colorado for the first. So the first week of the Dinger, you get 6 games at Colorado. Dinger finals, that is. But then Colorado only plays 6 games, both on the road after that. So, yeah, interesting stuff. We'll mess around with it, and we'll go deep down in the weeds. Yeah. I love this. 1 pick and roll team or 20 Monday Night Hoops teams. That's good shit. I'm not sure which is best for the bankroll management there. The RNG will tell you to do the 20, and they will probably also tell you to do, break that 20 in the Monday Night Hoops into like 15 and then a couple in the buzzer beater or something like that. Would be like the financial advice term. But if you just want to have the sweat equity of one draft and you don't want to put in the time, 1 pick and roll team is always a fun way to do it. Wasn't the sidekick all over Jackson? No, the sidekick didn't really have like inherent biases. I saw people talking about that on the X machine there. I guess. I don't know. Nez and I also thought about like, hey, do they, from a business standpoint, do you prioritize advance rate stuff within your sims so that everybody experiences good results to then come back to your product? But like, I don't think that's the case at all. I think they were just building out what were the best available teams for the finals at given windows of time. And I think that led a lot of people to Jags backstacks when they were cheap, Packers backstacks when they were cheap. But it also told you to do a ton of Bears stuff as backstacks as well. I mean, it's just the classic dichotomy of the tweet that I keep retweeting and keep sharing, guys, is just like you got to independently think about the isolated instances here, because never at any point were the S word's going to tell you, unless you were going full onslaught, to do Jalen Coker as a one-off instead of Rico or Tet. Nobody was ever going to tell you Chuba instead of Rico as a one-off, right? Like, this is where combating of the tools versus the hashtag ball knowledge versus the random variants come into fit, because it's just one slate, right? So yeah. Anyways, we will get back to Dinger. We will go all the way through this. Where is sheep is a fun question, because we are going to do a stacking Dingers. I will put the stacking Dingers Substack in the chat for everyone as well. He's been doing, they have been doing some ADP checking up on through the bullpen season and all that sort of stuff. But we will be doing a show to officially introduce the Dinger on Wednesday night. So I'm going to be jumping on there. Nez is going to be there as well. So we're going to do a stacking Dinger show on Wednesday night for kind of like the official launch of the Dinger season. So yeah. Anyways, back to the lobbies for a second here. We're going to do hoops first, and then we will do Dinger, because hoops is time sensitive and the Dinger is not. But I did want to show everybody in the PGA here. This is the new format for the weekend tournaments here. The Underdog Open. This is the Sony Open in Hawaii that kicks off the PGA. Usually a pretty high scoring one, but usually kicks off the PGA calendar here. And as you guys can see, where did I go past it already? It is a 4-round contest, and you get points for your finishing position. So now it's not all about scoring and cumulative scoring and how many birdies a guy gets and whatnot. It finishing position now matters, and it brings in the totality of the weekend there. It's still 6-person rosters and whatnot, but it stems for the entirety of the weekend instead of going day by day. So these are 4-round draft contests. So yeah, I'll be hopping in there this weekend. I'm not ready to right now. I have no information or no understanding. But yeah, very cool new format that they're introducing for the start of the PGA stuff there. So we got brand new contests all over the place. And for you sick puppies who are thinking about, oh man, where are my return contests? Where's my mitten return number 3? Where's my gauntlet returns? That sort of thing. I can't get enough football. A little birdie told me to keep your ear to the street tomorrow for those ones. So today's Dinger and PGA with our daily NBA contest, and then tomorrow, methinks we're gonna have a little bit more football for you, you truly sick individuals after this game this evening. Here has to, the game this evening has to subside before we open it up. Yeah, this is gonna be a really common question, and I guess I'll just hit it right now. If some of you are looking to not draft NBA and then draft MLB, but we'll go over it again while drafting MLB. The optimal roster construction, it's going to fluctuate based on who you ask and where you spend draft capital and all that sort of stuff. It also fluctuates year to year based on the health of pitching and how many 2-start pitchers you wind up with in the finals. So some people will take the results-based approach and be like, wow, maybe you can get through with some 5 or 6 pitcher builds. Others will be like, wow, this was a bad health year for pitching. Now you got to go back to the old school alpha of 8-6-6. So the macro meta when we started drafting these contests was 8-6-6. It was 8 for pitchers, 6 for infield, 6 for outfield. Now that alpha has since changed in some respect here, but the pendulum does swing year to year. I would say the standard build is now 7-7-6, and that's because infield's more plentiful than outfield. Most people spend draft capital on outfield. And then the pitchers, you can kind of get away with 7 as long as it's a balanced build. You don't necessarily need to spend that 8th slot on it. But the OG meta was 0 pitcher, and it was 8-6-6. Then the alpha kind of shifted a little bit where, wow, some of these pitchers are way more valuable than some of the other ones. And people started doing balanced roster constructions of like 7-7-6 or 7-6-7. That would kind of be the new alpha right now, the new meta. And then here you go. Timmy's coming in with snuck a 6-7-7 into the finals last year, right? So yes, that is that's you really gotta be sharp AF and nail all your pitching if you're gonna do it that way. But in a vacuum, that's kind of like I do lean this. Yes, Best Ball Viper. I do lean 7 over 8, but I reserve the right to change my mind based on how I see the player pool evolve and the fragility of pitching and the fragility of arms going forward. Couple other things for this week before we do NBA. We're gonna do Sam Sherman at some point too. We were originally gonna do it today, then I kindly asked him if we could do it another day. Simply because Nez isn't here. I want Nez to be here when we do that. Okay, cool. Billy hit me with DM'd me some historical data charts. Okay, cool. Because I was looking for some of that stuff this morning on the Sweating Dingers site, and I noticed Sweating Dingers wasn't up anymore. So I don't know if our guy Tistonian Wings is just doing some stuff on the back end, or if it's ripsweatingdingers.com. But we will see. We will say. I'll take a look at that stuff. Thank you for that, Billy. I will take a look at that stuff when we officially start the Dinger segment. I filibustered too long here. Let's do a rapid fire version of NBA today. I've done 20 drafts thus far. Most of them were actually last night, which is abnormal for me. Normally, I'm a kind of a morning of guy. Couple macros here. we have 4 teams on the back end back to back today. Those 4 teams are the Raptors and the 76ers, the Nets and the Kings. And these are very interesting because the Kings, second night of a back to back after beating the Rockets yesterday, Rockets on a 3-game losing streak right now. They also had some really weird travel that led up to that. The Kings are on the second night of a back to back, still haven't filed, and the Lakers are on a front end of the back to back. And we know LeBron, sometimes going to play some back to backs, probably not going to play any. His quote was, "Hey, I'm 40, whatever. I'm going to take it one day at a time with these back to backs." So I found that stuff interesting in general there. The Raptors and 76ers played yesterday and played some big time minutes. Like VJ Edgecombe played like big minutes, so now we get that matchup yet again today, and you have a Joel Embiid questionable tag, you have a Paul George questionable tag, neither of which played yesterday. So were they preemptively, sitting out the front end so they could play the back end? I don't know, because Paul George was a late scratch. So I'm not sure what to make of that. Kelly Oubre is also back in our lives there and played 34 minutes yesterday. So he's back to full and starting for the 76ers. So a lot of moving pieces with that matchup. So just to kind of like reiterate, back end back-to-backs, Kings, Nets, and then the entirety of the game between Toronto and the 76ers. Front end back-to-backs are the Lakers, and the Lakers play Atlanta tomorrow at home. So they're in Sacramento tonight and then an hour and a half down the road to LA tomorrow there. So 5 teams back-to-back, 4 on the front end. Another interesting wrinkle as I jump over to the beautiful unabated interface here is we have a huge outlier total game, and we haven't had a slate like this in a minute because we've been dealing with some pretty high totals across the board. We've also been dealing with some pretty tight spreads, let's call it that, on the slates we talked through last week. But man, we almost got a 250 here. We got a 249.5. If I actually click on it, I believe it was 250. There you go. The unabated line was 250, 250.5, that sort of thing. So we have a 250 game where the Cavs are 13-point favorites and nearing full. The Cavs are here. They're 13-point favorites against a Jazz team that just got their doors blown up and given up 150 points to the Hornets. They were down, I think it was like 79-20 something at halftime. They were damn near down 50 at half last time out. Okay. Now you get a 250 total, and every other total on the slate is hovering around 220. We get a 220, we get a 219.5, we get a 223, a 226, and then you kind of get a little bit of the outlier of a 229. But that 229 is still 20 real-life basketball points away from this first game. That means there's going to be call it 30 to 50 based on game script, 30 to 50 more fantasy points available in this Cavs and Jazz game than any other game on the slate. So if you want to B2 smooth it up this evening and game stack the first game on the slate, if you know, I can't fault you, man. I can't fault you, because if that plays closer than 13 and you want to just put a bunch of players from that game together, sure, why not, man? Some high praise for Darius Garland from the coaching staff there as well in recent memory. Kind of a tougher matchup for Lauri Markkanen in my estimation. Just dealing with some of those bigger bodies in Mobley and Allen. You don't really like the Mobley treatment for a guy like Lauri Markkanen, who does so much of the rebounding and stretching the floor with 3 stuff. Anyways. We also have a big D tag here. We'll go back to the ADP for a second. We have a big D tag here on Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown has fallen about, 15 spots, 20 spots in ADP now since the addition of this D tag. He was listed doubtful as of yesterday for Monday. He's coming off of 43. It looks like you get a good rest spot against the Pacers, who have been, despite getting Carlisle's 1,000th win the other day, they've been one of the worst teams in the NBA all season here. So yeah, that's going to get people really excited to jam Derek White. And Derek White is going in rooms a lot higher than this 9 ADP will indicate. Last night, he was going in this pocket of like 15, 14, 12 here before ADP fully adjusted. So some people do have him paired with Luka and that sort of stuff. He's going to project like that. He's going to project way better here. But if you get Andrew Nemhard playing against him this evening, Andrew Nemhard has a Q tag on the other side of that game, but is coming off of a monster game here. 29 minutes he played and 55 fantasy points for Andrew Nemhard in that pace-up game against the Heat. If you get Nemhard on Derek White, I mean, I don't love that matchup for Derek White, right? But a lot of that hinges on that Q tag, right? So yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that and how to draft that dynamic. I mean, Keita goes undrafted. People are really pushing up Peyton Pritchard, so we could talk about some of those wrinkles there. Other big one is obviously it is a Luka slate, so Luka's lapping the field in terms of 101. So just be mindful of that when we're circling back on the question that someone asked earlier there. Hey, should I do one $100 draft or should I do 20 of the $5? It's a Luka slate. So, like, I mean, that 101 and the power of that 101 in the second highest total game on the slate, where Luka's going to outproject everybody else by, like, I don't know, 7 to 9 points when the unabated stuff comes out. That'd be my guess. Maybe as high as 10 fantasy points out projecting. You're going to want to introduce a little bit of volume in your life here to get some exposure to Luka, because it could be one of those slates where it's like, can't win unless you had Luka in the first round. So yeah, just be mindful. Anything else macro to talk through here? I played RJ as out to start. I mean, we'll go kind of like game by game here in a quick orderly fashion. But I played RJ out to start, and now he is out. So I had kind of a bullish ranking on Emmanuel Quickley last night. I was pushing him up a little bit. I mean, when Jamal Shed plays alongside him, it's not great for him. And we imagine if no RJ this evening, I imagine Jamal Shed starts again alongside him and like takes a little bit of the handling and takes some of the potential assists away. I still like the Quickley spot. Quickley had a nice game against this very same team yesterday. Colin Murray Boyles, like absolute slate breaker yesterday. Monster game from Colin Murray Boyles, who's having a big time breakout here. 55 fantasy points yesterday in that one. Monster double in 42 minutes for a big. I mean, wow, just truly incredible stuff. But I was leaning in a little bit to the IQ price being wrong, but that could break wrong in a couple ways. It's a good thing that RJ is out, but if Brandon Ingram is in, and it looked like he was trending pretty close to being ready last time, he had a wrap on his thumb, I believe it was, in like the shoot around and stuff like that. And people are kind of speculating that, hey, he was close yesterday, he's going to be going today kind of thing. Him being in isn't the greatest thing in the world for the Quickley bags. Just another body and another guy we expect to play full because it's a thumb. It's not like an ankle or a knee or a calf or something like that, right? So discounted BI right now is pretty nice, but some IQ in your life as well. Let's go game by game, and the rest of the stuff is going to sort itself out here. As we talked about, Cavs and Jazz there, 13 and a 250 or a 240, 9.5 by the looks of it now. On the Cavs side, going to be pretty close to full here. Dean Wade is kind of the only rotation piece that we've been dealing with all year that is out here. Still no more Max Strus there. And then on the Jazz side, Ace Bailey is listed available here. And our guy, Nurkic, who's been balling the F out, is available as well. George Niang, Walker Kessler, all the usual suspects, and the G Leaguers are out in this one. So, George goes every single time quite high. Let's start with the Utah side. It's basically three pieces of Utah getting drafted every damn time. Kev Love, he's only playable on the spots in which Nurk does not play, basically. So he's out of our lives. It's three guys here. I low-key like George more than Lowry this evening. but just given their ADP, I'm kind of mixing and matching. It's kind of just an evergreen debate with those two. But if I have to make tiebreakers here, it's just a matchup based thing. And I like the George matchup ever so slightly more. I do like the Nurk spot, and I do think Nurk should project better than this. It is, I'm not concerned about the last two games missing and the game missing prior because he came back and played 30 and 32. When he plays, he's going to come back and play full. And it's a great toe injury or whatever. It's a toe sprain. It's the same listing for like the last 5 or 6 games. And he's come out and done nothing short of ball with these 47s, these 49s. So I'm really into that. I'm really into all three of these guys. If I had to rank it ADP adjusted, it would be George, Nurk, Lowry. But I will draft it Lowry, George, Nurk just based on their price tags and try and encapsulate a little bit of falling value there. Walter Clayton has seen a nice little expansion there, getting up into these 26, 21, 29. Just putting that on people's radar. Don't think it's necessarily draftable this evening. Cody Williams has been bad. Ace has been capped. He comes back, plays only 10, then misses another 2. He's not draftable this evening. If you wanted to scroll the F down for one last piece, I think Isaiah Collier would be that best option. He shares a very similar matchup that George gets there. It was nice to see him go back to that 34, though a lot of that was like garbage time run because they were up so much on the Hornets, or they were down so much against the Hornets there. So yeah, I think Collier is viable in the last round as a scroll, but for the most part, it's just those 4. And then on the Cavs side, I think I like Donovan at 2 tonight. Just playing into the game total there. He might not project that much different than the whole tier behind him, but I think if you want to have exposure to him, you have to take him at 2 this evening. So I'm taking Donovan Mitchell at 2. I think Mobley at ADP is entirely fine. Not the best spot in the world for him with Nurk on the other side and Lowry Marketing, just like some size to deal with. But I think he's entirely fine. I think Darius Garland's probably my favorite piece of this game at ADP. I'd be taking Darius Garland a little bit above this. I'd be taking him, kind of above like pretty close to the Siakam tier is kind of what I was doing with the Garland. I like Garland this evening. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to vault into that like Siakam, whatever. But if you wanted to mix and match this tier, like I kind of draw a line in the sand at Scotty, and then I mix and match this kind of big clump from Lowry all the way down to Peyton Pritchard. Yeah. And I think if BI didn't have the Q tag, BI and Westbrook could both be in that big clump there too. So if you want to take 2 of these guys that are a little bit further down instead of like these other guys at the top, just to get different in flipping the board, but in the middle of your draft, flipping the board, I think it's a pretty viable strategy because we're literally going to be talking about fractions of fantasy point difference between these guys, right? Fractions of fantasy points. Yeah. What up to the cheese? The cheese still rolling through when he's got a family day. Much love to you, my friend. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that's kind of all I got to say on Cleveland. Jared Allen is just kind of always fine. Like, it's just kind of like, yeah, Jared Allen. I like him when his ADP is cheaper. They've been running a decent amount through him. Evergreen reminder that Allen pairs better with Garland. The overlap in their second unit stints still remain the same. That like Donovan plus Mobley and Garland plus Allen, those are kind of like the crossover pairings. So doing the Garland plus Allen in the 3rd/4th round is entirely viable. And then as far as Cleveland's concerned, I think that's kind of where you stop. Samarel, getting more minutes, having some nice games, but like the ceiling's just not high enough for us on a 6-game slate on our site. I mean, famous last words if he just like knocks a bunch of threes or something. But like, I don't think 30 fantasy points is going to be enough to get it done. Lonzo's fallen out of favor. Jalen Tyson's kind of like splitting minutes here and there with the Morels and the Dean Wades of the world, although Dean Wade is out this evening. And then Hunter just kind of plays his like mid-20s off the bench. And then if he scores, he puts up like 25 fantasy points. If he doesn't score, he doesn't. So Yeah, not a lot of ceiling for us to go chasing down here despite the total. So just packing in like, two of our first three picks into this game environment feels really good. I mean, you could maybe go like a bridge further and go, hey, I built out like the super Donovan Mitchell team, and then I got Mitchell plus Mobley, or I got Mitchell plus Garland, which is more obtainable. Let's be realistic here. Mitchell plus Garland, you got that, then adding like Craig Porter Jr. for blowout run or something like that as like the gal brain play, but it's so thin. It just kind of feels like the four usual suspects here. All right, let's keep pushing. Pacers and Celtics, 226 here, 5.5 by way of the Celtics. Let me get the freshest injury report available here, just to confirm nothing has changed. I'm going to actually take a peek here. The unabated notifications. Yeah, okay, we're good. There. Yeah, the Celtics, obviously this D tag with Jaylen Brown. Obviously be mindful that it is a D tag and not an out tag right now. So if you wanted to take him in like the last couple rounds, yeah, why not? I'm cool with that. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of I don't think he plays, but like if you wanted to just do it to be like mindful of it, sure, cover your bases. Just because it gets treated like a Q tag and you could still swap. Yeah. Sam Hauser's listed with a questionable tag too, and Josh Minott has an out tag. He's kind of fallen a little bit out of favor in recent memory there. Pacers side of the equation, Isaiah Jackson, Tyrese Halliburton, Benedict Mathurin, and Obi Toppin all still out. Ethan Thompson and Talon Peter with the Q tags on the G League stuff. And then that Nemhard Q tag that we talked about that he did not play. Then he played through and played really well in 29 minutes against the Heat. And now is designated yet again with that one, the lower back soreness. Sorry, got to catch my breath here. Yeah, so let's start with the Boston side. People are going to be extremely frothy to jam Derek White and Peyton Pritchard and take them above ADP. They are going to be the slappy plays of the night where people are getting extremely, excited about this. Yeah, I think they're fine. I will be trying to catch them closer to ADP. It's going to be hard with the hashtag models out. It's going to be hard with, the rankings from ETR and stuff out now, because I imagine they're both going to be way higher than this. I haven't looked yet. Evergreen reminder when I'm doing the program. Yeah. So how do you get leverage off of these teams from last night who have Derek White at pick 11 and Peyton Pritchard at pick 20 or whatever? How do you get leverage off them? Well, you take Keita or Simons in the last round as a one-off. You could also go a bridge further and take Hugo Gonzalez if we get no Sam Hauser and we get no Josh Minott. We already have no Josh Minott. So, but it looks like they've kind of gone back to splitting the role between like Hugo Hauser and Jordan Walsh. So it's really hard to play them. And then Anthony Simon has really come back into our lives. We played that pick'em the other day. He's getting up in these 20s. He has the ability to score off the bench. If Boston gets up by like 10 or 15 and they pull the starters a little bit earlier, Simons can get some extended run in this game. Keita matchup's pretty nice. We've talked about matchups against the fives of the Pacers there. Pacers also could play small this evening and not even start like Jay Huff or something like that and start Siakam at the 5, which is potential for them this evening. So could be a nice spot for Keita against Siakam at the 5 there. So if you want to play, hey, I don't want to pay full price for the Boston pieces now because they both should get drafted higher than ADP, you play the Keita or Simons one-off in the last round there. I've always been a proponent of Luka Garza, but it's backup 5 run, and it probably just does not matter on our site here. More of a redacted, cheap salary filling play there. Yeah. Brown also at his price where swapping isn't detrimental. Exactly. Yes. Well said there. Rob's asking about solver / sidekick equivalents for MLB. Let me circle back on that when we talk to the solver guys later this week. Maybe we can make something like that come to fruition. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure that anything like that is going to exist this season. Yeah, the nice thing about MLB is there are a lot of very good projection models that are free, all on Fangraphs there. Like you can mix and match all, like, yeah, sure, you can pay for the bad X, and you could pay for, some of these other models, but like so many of these things are just free on a player by player basis. On, like, you can literally just go to Fangraphs, go to projections, and you can just get all of these projections right here. ATC is kind of like an accumulated, like a accumulator one, and you could just kind of build out something of your own magnitude with these projections and then convert them to underdog scoring. So that's the nice thing about baseball, is like the resources are plentiful and they're free. But in terms of like tools that tell you, like, stacking teams and overlays and stuff, not that I'm aware of just yet, but fingers crossed here. Let's talk about the Pacers here. I'm still so effing salty about the TJ McConnell game the other night. Finally got TJ McConnell, finally got 38% owned, or I had 38% TJ McConnell. He wasn't even 100% owned in the contest. He plays 27 minutes off the bench. He nukes the slate with that 47 fantasy points on a short slate. And then we get the third game canceled. We get the game canceled with the condensation on the floor, and it sinks all my lineups. I'm still salty about it. But just a reminder, if we get no Andrew Nembhard this evening, I'm kind of in the camp that Andrew Nembhard plays basketball this evening. Just a reminder that like Siakam gets like a little bit of a boost because he gets an increased handling role. So you take Nembhard out, Siakam probably projects like similar to Evan Mobley, Scotty Barnes, Joel Embiid. Okay, that's the first one. Naismith gets a slight bump, but again, he is on-ball defense and he is three-point shooting, which is highly variant. So he's not the kind of guy I like to ape in on. He has the ability to break a slate if he hits, 8 threes like he did in that game in the postseason last year, or like he did against that Orlando game there. But he sees, some pretty strong minutes. So he's an entirely good, fine, viable 6th round piece. TJ is the high rates guy, but he is not going to draw into the starting lineup. He's going to play off the bench still, and you're just hoping and praying that he gives you 40 fantasy points in 23 to 27 minutes there. He is undoubtedly going to be, kind of like my favorite click, but it's pretty ugly. They most likely will start Johnny Furphy and Quentin Jackson, neither of which are good fantasy output players, neither of which I think are draftable, but they're most likely to start. And then they pivot to, fuck, my nose is driving me insane right now. And then they pivot to, a deeper 11-man rotation. None of the bigs are safe here. I think Jay Huff is probably the best of the bunch. He could match up quite decently, but against like drop fives like Kada, I don't know that you really want like stretch 3 guys like Jay Huff. That's why they could potentially play a little bit smaller this evening. We've seen them do the Ethan Thompson starting thing. It's still a bridge too far for us. They could start Ben Shepherd again, but he's just kind of like 3 and 4th option out there. So yeah, Micah Potter is kind of like the most interesting rates guy if he got full minutes off the bench, but yeah, probably not going to happen. So really tough to draft anyone other than these big 3. And then if and Naismith is even a little bit of a bridge too far for me at times there. I like Nembhard if he's able to go this evening, because he gets like the on-ball assignment of White, and just opens up some stock potential. He'll project ever so slightly better than this ADP, but it's not like some crazy closing line value. I think the more fun play is if you got like low-owned Naismith or low-owned TJ if they were able to go. Some Cam Jones love in the chat. Yeah, free Cam Jones. Let him get some minutes out here. It's coming. It's coming at some point here. I'm not going to be the first one to it. I'm going to play the wait and see game and then see what happens. But yes, it's going to come, and it's going to come at the expense of, when the G Leaguers aren't listed available, aka Peters and Thompson. And then when, they finally just go, hey, we're giving him some minutes over QJ and Ben Shepherd. But this team's got a decent amount of cards right now, none of which are overly excited to play, right? Too much time on the Pacers there. I think there's basically only two draftable pieces, like 2.5. One's a scroll. Raptors and Sixers here. Let me go just 1 second here. Get my thing back up to confirm here. Yesterday's game there. What did we end up with? Yesterday's game, we end up with overtime and a 116 to 115 finish. I just wanted to get the score right for you guys. Maxey had 38 yesterday. Scotty Barnes came back and played 42 minutes right out the gate. That was pretty bullish there. They have already submitted here, and we just got RJ with the out tag. We got Jakob Pertl with the out tag, and then we got BI listed with the Q tag. I think BI goes this evening. And then on the other side of that Sixers equation there, Joel Embiid and Paul George, both who did not play yesterday, have Q tags. And then listed available is Kelly Oubre, who played 34 minutes yesterday there. So, yeah, Sixers coming back to full here. This is only a 220.5 here. Reminder that the Raptors have some good transition defense, and the Sixers are most likely going to be adding in at least one of Embiid or George this evening. My lean is Embiid sat the front end of the back-to-back so that he could play the back end. So I would not be aping into the Colin Murray-Boyles stats of last night. It's fun. He's having a breakout here. I don't love it as much as yesterday against Embiid here. Yeah, now other reminders here, guys. When guys are coming off like these big-ass minutes in back-to-backs versus the same team, man, I'm scared. You get 43 from Scotty coming off of a designation. What is he going to play tonight? Like 35, like something like that, right? Like a BI with the thumb here, missing a couple. Like BI feels like a pretty decent click to me that he just comes in and plays full with the thumb, just comes in, plays 34, and we're just totally fine with BI, right? It's just like I guess a pain management kind of thing. And he participated in shoot around the last, I think it was yesterday as well, if memory serves there. Jamal Shed for the scroll purposes, presumably going to start, has a large handling role, could play a lot of minutes, especially if BI is there. It probably a little bit of a bridge too far, but he is swap viable if BI is not going this evening. I think you probably are better off taking a swing at one of the fives here in Colin Murray-Boyles or Sandro as your swap, though, if BI does not go this evening. Scotty's entirely fine at ADP, not anticipating another 43-minute game there. BI will project better than his ADP if he's able to go, and I'm playing him as if he's in. IQ will project a little bit better than his ADP here as well. Decent matchup for IQ in my bro science back of the napkin analysis there. I was liking the IQ stuff last night when he was like ADP 31. And we're all looking for the guy who's part of the problem to push him up there. And that was me. Sixers stuff. I was playing Maxey at 3. I was playing Maxey over LeBron. I'm a little scared, guys. I know there's no probable tag. I know there's no whatever. They get Atlanta tomorrow night. They're 9.5 point favorites this evening at the Kings. The Kings on a back-to-back. I don't know, man. This is a little like Windhursty gal brain. But if the Kings come back, because they still haven't submitted yet, right? If the Kings submit something that we get a Q tag on DeRozan or Levine or something like this, I got my Windhurst up that, LeBron all of a sudden gets a probable tag and a LeBron all of a sudden sits on the front end of the back-to-back. Now, maybe they're not at the luxury of doing so, but I don't know, man. They're fifth in the West. They got to manage these guys on the back-to-backs. I think he sits one of the two games, and I think you'd rather have him against Atlanta tomorrow, and the size that Atlanta presents and the quality of basketball players Atlanta has versus that of the Kings, who, you know, a 9-win team with a bunch of vets on the second night of a back-to-back. I don't know. Windhurst's up, man. I was playing guys over LeBron, and I was taking LeBron. I don't have much LeBron tonight. I was taking LeBron at like 6 or something. Now I recognize he's been balling the F out, 50 fantasy points over and over again. He looks phenomenal. I'm not gonna lie, but that's just how I was playing it, man. I was just a little scared. I was a little skittish. So that led me to having a decent amount of Maxi because I had Maxi pulled up at 3 there. And like the other stuff that's not overly clean is the other guy you could take kind of like over them would be like Harden and Kawhi, but we're dealing with this Kawhi Q tag yet again as well. He's played through it every single time there. But I don't know. Like this LeBron ADP just feels very, very frothy to me. So if I knew everyone was playing basketball this evening, I think I would still rank. I think I would still rank Mitchell, Maxey, Kawhi, Harden above LeBron. Like even if I knew they were all playing basketball tonight. So, and then I have my own Windhurst suspicions about the back-to-back for LeBron. So he probably goes tonight and then sits tomorrow. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. All that to say, you know, I liked Maxey at 3, man. I liked Maxey at 3. He also had 38 points last night in this very same matchup. It looks like another good spot for him. You know, good. Yeah. Anyways, VJ Edgecombe, man, the minutes are so effing strong. When he gets them, he gives you fantasy points. When he doesn't get them, sometimes he gives you fantasy points. He's very minutes dependent, but the minutes have been so strong. Maybe if Paul George and Embiid are back tonight and the fact that it's a back-to-back, he gets cut into a little bit and we see something closer to the 35. Yet again, I thought he was one of the worst ADPs on the board this evening, but that's a sword that I've been falling on for far too long now. Joel Embiid feels like a good matchup. Colin Murray-Moyles is a good defender. Don't get me wrong here, but he's still rookie big here. This feels like a good, you know, they took care. They tried to take care of business on the front end last night. Couldn't get it done. Well, what do we do different tonight? Well, that we run a whole lot of shit through Joel this evening. So I was digging the Joel ADP. I was digging when he was falling with the Q tag. He was falling back to Luka teams at some point here. I think this is a management thing, guys. I think he plays this evening. I think he gets back to some of these full style numbers that he's been getting to. And I like Embiid. I like Embiid. So I'm drafting Embiid this evening. I think Paul George is entirely fine in the last round. I would rather take Paul George than Kelly Oubre or Quentin Grimes. And then if Paul George is unable to go, I think Kelly Oubre is the swap option. He's back into that starting role. He's back into this 34 minutes. He had 7 stocks yesterday. I don't think that performance is necessarily repeatable, but just opening up the minutes for him. So if Paul George is out, VJ becomes safer and Kelly Oubre becomes safer. And then Quentin Grimes plays his 28 to 33 off of the bench there. He played 34 yesterday in that one. So yeah, the Grimes minutes are pretty strong. Nick Nurse is just running his dudes right now. You know, he is full-fledged condensing the shit out of this and going, yeah, man, we gotta make up some ground here in the Eastern Conference while everybody's healthy. Let's make it count. And these are pretty big games for the standings because, you know, we're not full-fledged standings watching just yet. You know, we're not quite at the All-Star break there, but we're at like kind of like that halfway point of the season. And like these head-to-heads matter when, you know, you're 2 games apart from the Raptors, like that sort of deal, right? So, yeah. I like Maxey. I like Embiid. I'm down on VJ. I'm fine with Paul George in the last round as a Q tag. And then the swap ability will be, you know, I imagine Drummond starts if Embiid can't go again. He only played 19, I think it was yesterday. And then they opted for some iterations of the smaller lineups there. But yeah, I think your swap options will be like Oubre and Grimes if Embiid and George cannot go this evening. But I am playing Embiid as in and then Georgia's kind of like a free square late. Mavericks and Nets here, 219.5, 4 by way of the Magic. The Magic without AD for some extended time here. We also have a probable tag on Musa Cisse. I can't remember now. Yeah, but he's going to get some backup 5 run there. But Daniel Gafford has a Q tag here with that right ankle designation. We would like to play some Daniel Gafford in the last round here. We got a questionable tag on a Miles Kelly G Leaguer as well there. And then we got out tags on Anthony Davis, Dante Exum, Kyrie Irving, Derek Lively, and then we got doubtful tags on Brandon Williams and PJ Washington. So what this does is this brings either Point Flag back into our lives, or it brings Ryan Nembhard into our lives as a lead handler if the doubtful tags are unable to go. So I'm pretty into Flag this evening. I was kind of surprised by his initial ADP. I thought he should have been a little bit higher. Like, I like Flag more than Derek White this evening, and I think that might be kind of a contrarian take as the day goes on there. The Gafford Q tag, I think they're probably waiting to see what happens with the Nets back-to-back decision with the bigs there. Neither are listed right now, but yeah, I think they were kind of like hedging a little bit with that. I did not see anything from Gafford that was like abnormal. Like, it's just like the same shit we've been dealing with here. But yeah, I mean, Gafford's minutes slowly creeping up here. He's been playing 25s in the back-to-backs there. Not in back-to-back games, but in back-to-back games, not on back-to-backs, but playing like 25. Feels like an okay spot where they need the size to get to Gafford here. But I probably like the bigs on the Nets side more there. So my player pool with Dallas, I'll bring it up here. I was taking Cooper Flag a little bit ahead of ADP. I liked that. And then I really liked Najee Marshall in the last round. Max Christie can get hot from 3 in this matchup. Absolutely. I think it's viable in the last round. But my favorite click right now, guys, is scrolling all the way the F down here to Ryan Nembhard. And Ryan Nembhard could become a pretty popular swap option. We haven't seen ceiling from him in recent memory. D'Lo cut in a little bit here. He had the 18 minutes there, and we know what D'Lo can do in a revenge game in limited stints here. But I want some of this handling off the bench. Now, Najee can get some handling as a big and also play like 33 minutes, 35 minutes, and be very viable. So these are the two safest, in my estimation, are Flag and Najee. And then the moon shooters in the last round here will be the D'Los, the Nembhards, and the Christies. And I'm trying to remember the ceiling games of Ryan Nembhard when he played like 35 minutes and had the lead handling role from early in the season. And that's what I'm kind of wish casting this evening against a Nets team that's kind of depleted on the back end of a back-to-back here. I think this could be a really nice Ryan Nembhard spot that nobody's getting to. And it was nice to see the uptick again to 29 there. So yeah, that all hinges upon Brandon Williams not playing. I'm anticipating him not playing this evening. Also anticipating PJ Washington not playing this evening. So there's going to be a lot of minutes here, guys. And I know the total isn't all that inspiring. And Dallas has been playing some bad basketball in recent memory. We've also seen them start Jaden Hardy at one point during this season. So it is really up in the air of like what could take place this evening. But if we get Gafford in and the 2 D tags out, I anticipate it being Nembhard, Christie, Flag, Najee, Gafford. And then Gafford playing like 25, Najee in a competitive game playing like 31 to 35, Flag playing 31 to 35 in a competitive game, Max Christie with like similar right tail outcomes if the shot's falling, where it's like he's probably a 28-minute guy, but he could get into those like low to mid 30s if the shot's falling. And then Nembhard, if things are going well, he could play 30 tonight and nobody's drafting him. He could have lead handling. He had massive potentials when he was playing as the starter. And there's just a little bit less behind him because they don't love to run a ton of D'Lo. He looks like a pure off the bench, second unit handling guy, go score guy. So Yeah, I'm kind of excited to play one of these guards. Now your guess is as good as mine as to which it is. I'm playing the Nemhard angle. I think it's Nemhard this evening. So yeah, and we're not gonna have a starting lineup for them that's officially confirmed when we go to tip this evening. So just getting this leverage of like some of these flat 35 guys like down here where we're gonna find scoring from somebody, right? Like we're gonna find fantasy points someone down here, right? Clay had a really nice shooting night in that premium matchup versus Utah there. Great catch and shoot matchup for him. Clay can get hot, but he lacks the ceiling that some of these other guys with like the full minutes are going to have, right? Like he's more likely to be a 20 mid 20s guy than a 30 mid 30s guy, right? So that's just my take on the scenario. That's how I was playing it. Go to the net side here. I think Michael Porter Jr. was pretty underpriced this morning. Actually, let me type in Brooklyn so we don't get the Hornets mixed in. Yeah, I thought Michael Porter Jr. was underpriced this morning. I thought Nick Claxton was underpriced, and I thought people were hedging just because they thought they were going to get like a Q tag on the second night of the back-to-back. Noah Clowney's been playing some nice minutes there, 30, 30, 33 there. So if you want to go a bridge further and take Noah Clowney in the last round, I'd be cool with that. Day'Ron Sharp had a really nice game last night there, 20 minutes, 13 boards against Memphis there, 35 fantasy points. I love Day'Ron Sharp when we get to play him, when he has the front court all into himself. But when both him and Claxton are there, even though it's a back-to-back, I just anticipate them splitting, kind of like the 48 and a little bit between the two of them. So it kind of makes both of them less enticing. If we had a Q tag on one of them or an out tag on one of them, I would be kind of jamming the other one this evening. But yeah, I think Claxton's still fine. I think Sharp is probably a bridge too far. I think Noah Clowney is fine as a last round click there. Yeah, Danny Wolf's getting some good minutes too. But yeah, I think Michael Porter Jr. was underpriced before. Now he's kind of like appropriately priced in that tier. He missed yesterday there, is going to go today. He's definitely their best fantasy asset. He's definitely the guy I want to play most on their team. He has slate break potential from the third round. Then I think it's Claxton in the last round. And then if you want to get really cheeky with a scroll, it's Clowney and Sharp as your two scroll options there. But all in all, like the Porter ADP and like the Magic scrolls would kind of be like my synopsis there. Lakers and Kings, already gave my Windhurst take on the LeBron stuff. I'm a little bit down on LeBron. I'm also a little concerned that if this game plays to spread, you could see the Lakers manage minutes on the front end of the back-to-back and then stretch, stuff out a little bit deeper with bench run so that then they can go ahead and have more bodies available for them tomorrow, because their injury report only lists Austin Reeves with the out tag, right? So yeah, Kings have still not submitted, so they're going to be a little bit difficult to talk through here. But getting that win yesterday over the Rockets meant that Westbrook played in the mid 30s. DeMar DeRozan played in the high 30s, like 37, I believe it was. Levine continues to play that 30 to 27, kind of range. They went back to the big lineup with Precious Achiuwa, and Precious Achiuwa played 5 minutes the game before, and then he played like 30 something last night. Let's go. Let me type it in and check it out here. Let's see here. Precious Achiuwa back into the starting lineup, back into our lives for the big lineup. He plays 4 against the Warriors. They're trying to phase him out. Finally, we get him phased out, and then plays 38 against the Rockets. They won last night. They're going back to the well here, guys. Like, unless there's like some Q tags and some crazy stuff happening, the Lakers play big as well. They're going back to the well tonight. Precious is playing minutes. Maxime Reynaud is playing minutes this evening. They're going to play big. Yeah, I think if we get Q tags on one of Levine, DeRozan, or Westbrook, and we get somebody missing tonight, I think the most likely would be Levine. That would be kind of like my take. And yeah, I think that just kind of like fortifies some of these minutes for the other guys. And yeah, I think DeRozan's going to project a little bit better than his ADP. I think Westbrook's going to project a little bit better, especially if you took Levine out of the equation. And then I think scrolling the F down in the last round, just taking Levine in the last round is entirely fine. But a little Maxime Renault and or Precious in the last round. Hey man, I'm not gonna fault you, but I don't love the matchup for Precious. It's just like strong minutes. Malik Monk, I mean, just get this guy out of town already. But it was encouraging to see 26 minutes return there after he was a coach's DNP for like a couple of these games here. I guess that's 3 in a row there. He's come back to life with these 19 and 26s. So if you all of a sudden get Levine with a Q tag or an out tag when this report drops, dude, a little cheeky Malik Monk in my life. I don't know, maybe a showcase, maybe a little playing back into favor with the coaching staff and or a little showcase before they try and deal him at the trade deadline. Malik Monk feels like a cheeky scroll because we have seen some ceiling from him in our lives. Lakers are really easy to talk about just because there's basically only 3 draftable pieces. You could go Galbrain and be like, hey, front end back to back. They got to expand it a little bit. They beat up on a Kings team that's, a little bit older and tired from last night. And now all of a sudden, Jake LaRavia, is a viable 6th round pick and plays his 35 minutes. His shot's falling. Marcus Smart ices a couple 3 balls, but it's just low ceiling, right? We've seen LaRavia at least hit 40 fantasy points a couple times here. So if I did scroll in the last round, my favorite play would be LaRavia. But I think DeAndre Ayton's not even going to be 100% drafted this evening. So I would just go ahead and take Ayton in the last round there. I would not be scared off of some of these recent box scores there. And I think they will match size with, Precious and Maxime Renault on the other side. So I think Ayton will be on the floor there. A little bit down on LeBron. And then Luka is just the 101 tonight. LaRavia is the 101 of scrolls for them. I don't think you can scroll beyond that. Never been a big Rui guy here. All right, we get the Clippers at home for the late night hammer here. Latest game on the slate, 223.5. The reason I note that it is the latest game on the slate is that this team that they're playing, the Hornets, just got absolutely curb stomped. Did the curb stomping to Utah there. They are back to being full here. So yeah, I think Kawhi plays this evening. I think they push him through the Q tag yet again. It's the ankle that was it was weird. He took a shot and then stepped back on a fan and then tweaked the ankle. He's played through it once. I think he plays through it again this evening here. The Clippers need to win basketball games, man. The Clippers need to win basketball games. And I think these are the spots, when you're at home against the Hornets where you have to take care of business because you're fighting the Grizzlies, you're fighting the Blazers right now to get into the play-in tournament. You have to take advantages of these spots and accumulate points to move up the standings here. So I think this is, I'm not going to call games in the middle of January must-win games, but man, you got to take care of business tonight if you are the Clippers here. So I think Kawhi goes this evening. I think he's entirely fine to draft at ADP, but I am also trying to find him falling in rooms. I think Harden might have even a better matchup than him this evening because you're going to probably get Bridges on the Kawhi treatment there. So I don't know, man. If you just want to draft Harden ahead and it's kind of like double bubble, it's like if Kawhi does not go, then you get a boost to Harden, and Harden would be kind of like the number 2 overall projecting player on the slate if Kawhi didn't go. Or you also get the certainty that he's playing for sure in the better matchup than Kawhi. I think it's entirely fine to take him over Kawhi. I'd be mindful of pairing the two together. They can obviously get home together, but I'd be kind of tempering my exposure to them paired together. But yeah, all that to say, I like both this evening. I like Harden the most. I thought John Collins' ADP was really bad when we opened up. The box scores are kind of nice there from the weekend there, but he just had a huge 8 stock outlier game on Saturday night against the Pistons. Yeah, we're not anticipating John Collins repeating anything close to that. So I do think it is still just, you drop the top three there. And if John Collins beats me tonight, he beats me, because I think there's better projecting plays in that vicinity. I think he can still be drafted, at pick 33, 34, 35 or whatever, but there's picks behind him I prefer. Most notably, the Emmanuel Quickly stuff was what I was doing last night above him. Yeah. Trying to think here. Yeah, the Zubac spot's pretty good, I guess. Obviously, on the Hornets side, we are still dealing. Oh, maybe not. Okay, cool. It looks like Kalkbrenner's back this evening. Let me take a look at this. I'm looking at the injury report. I just assumed he was going to be out, but it's Mason Plumlee who's out, and Ryan Kalkbrenner's back. Okay, cool. Yeah, he played 23 against Utah there on Saturday night. Okay, I missed that. Okay, so the 48 at the big will be split between Diabates and Kalkbrenner there. Obviously, Zoobs can get home against anybody. Prefer it a little bit less so against Kalkbrenner. Like Kalkbrenner, like good rebounder, good defensive rebounder, decent size down there. Yeah. Charlotte's hard to play when they're full, right? Miles Bridges' offensive output has kind of taken a little bit of a step back as he's been picking up the tougher defensive assignments in recent memory. Brandon Miller, if people are scared to go to Brandon Miller tonight because of the recent box scores, I'm going to be overweight on Brandon Miller. LaMelo did the off the bench thing and then broke the slate. This Brandon Miller 21 minutes was the game that they blew them out. And then the 19 minutes was he got ejected. That was another downfall of the TJ McConnell night, was he got ejected there, and he was a big part of my portfolio. So, yeah, I think Brandon Miller, cost adjusted, is my favorite Hornet this evening. I think Melo a little bit later than ADP is entirely fine. I think Bridges is fine, but he just has the tough defensive assignment, and the offensive usage and output just hasn't been the same as we were accustomed to. And now you're also throwing like Kalkbrenner back into the fold. Kahn in the last round is good. Kalkbrenner in the last round is fine. Diabates in the last round is just a floor play. Kind of really over the Diabates stuff after I've been watching a little bit more of the Hornets stuff. I played a lot of him on the Thursday slate of last week, I believe it was, and just not my bag anymore. So yeah, I think I'd rank it out like that. I think Brandon Miller is much better than his ADP. I think Melo can get home, but it's a low total game. It's a tough defensive matchup game. He almost undoubtedly has the Chris Dunn assignment on him when he's got the ball in his hands. Actually, maybe undoubtedly is too strong of a word there. I'll have to tap in to the matchup notes in the Discord and the matchup stuff on ETR for a take on that one, actually. But my bro science mind is Chris Dunn guards the on-ball stuff for Melo here, and that's not like the greatest thing in the world. All in all, definitely draftable Hornets tonight. I'm fine with it, but it is a low total game here. I think I'll draw the line at Kalkbrenner in the last round, and I think even that's maybe a little too far versus the Zoobs matchup there. But we know he can do a lot with a little there. So if he plays 25 minutes tonight, would not be surprised. Remember what he said, rapid fire NBA. You just can't shut me down, man. I get in the weeds here and I just start thinking about shit and I just let it all flow. Yeah, rapid fire. And normally I blame Nez for why the segments take so long, but it's we're all looking for the guy, and I am the guy. So yeah, 5 draftable Hornets this evening and 3 draftable Clippers. Being overweight the Clippers in the first round, in particular James Harden, feels pretty good to me tonight. If people are going to be jamming Derek White like over Harden or like up in that tier, I'll be the guy taking all the James Harden, please. I'll 1v1 that Harden versus Derek White to death tonight. So that's where I'm at on it. With that being said, that's all of them there. Let's hop in here and see what it looks like. We got almost, 25 of them done thus far. So let's see here. Oh, yes. Nez is at the Aaron Rodgers retirement party this evening. Yeah. I'm like 45% certain that it's pronounced like that. The Maxime Renault. I just really like saying it. I love the French Canadian stuff. Finding Value Fantasy tapped in. Miles tapped in. What's up? Emerald. Cool. Okay, I'm scrolling back here to get my ducks in a row for the next segment here. And I'm gonna check out. Okay, cool. All right, combined 6-round structure, 10-round structure by outfield count. Okay. All right. This is a lot to go through. I think we'll do it at a later date with Billy Jones here and like do it together. But I will go through the base full draft structure. How about that? I won't go like round by round. All right, here we go. We got some friends in here. Crisp is in here. JT McKenzie and our guy Magikarp is in here. Gonna go ahead and take Luka Doncic with the 101 there. My favorite pick on the board. LeBron goes 2. If LeBron is the guy you need at pick 2 tonight, I will be the guy who has similar results to his NFL stuff from this weekend. I will be that guy. Last fucking place. Dead last if LeBron at 2 is the guy you need. Harden at 5 feels good. Kind of hedging the, hey, let's just take the one who has the good matchup and who's going to play this evening. Derek White getting steam jobbed. Scotty Barnes, aka Scotty Bullway, with no designation. So he's getting pulled up to that corner. I do think it's a pretty fluid tier, guys, in terms of like after Harden and Kawhi. After Harden, Kawhi, Embiid, I think like pulling up Mobley, Flag, LeBron, any of these guys is entirely viable. Maxey plus Kawhi is a really nice start there. Donovan Mitchell plus Mobley. I said it was hard to obtain at the top of the program, and yet Magikarp is able to obtain it right here. Love that. Highest total game on the slate. Those two pair really well together. Better than any of the other teammates. Joel Embiid falls all the way back to me as the Luka drafter. I'm going to fucking windmill it in, run to the goddamn podium to put these two players together. I think if Embiid was designated as active this evening, he would project as like the 5th best player on the slate tonight, maybe the 6th or 7th best player. If I'm, kind of hedging my bets a little bit there. I think this is one big tier here, and you can kind of do whatever you want, but I do think Siakam is kind of like the guy who could jump this tier if Nembhard gets ruled out. So if Nembhard gets ruled out, Siakam vaults this tier, and we have the highest projecting player on the slate with Luka. Embiid gets ruled in. He's the 6th or 7th highest projecting player on the slate. And then if Nembhard gets ruled out, Pascal Siakam is the 7th or 8th projecting player on the slate. So we effectively pair a fantasy point projection of 1, 5, and 8 on a team at ADPs 1, 12, and 13. So that's a little bit of a cook fest there. Pritchard going at 16 now. So JT McKenzie is, we're all looking for the guy who's pulling up the Celtics guys, and he's one of them. Lowry Markkanen going ahead of Keontae George here. Totally fine. But we said we could mix and match that tier. A little bit scared about the Melo minutes here. I mean, it's encouraging to see him play back-to-back. It's encouraging to see him play. Not that this game is back-to-back, but it was encouraging last time out to see him play in a back-to-back, even though it was off the bench there. But yeah, he just, we talk about that, guys. When players know that they're limited, that they just come out and get theirs. It was very evident that LaMelo knew his minutes were going to be limited that night. I was watching that game. And yeah, he knew his minutes were going to be limited. He knew he was coming off the bench, and he knew his team did not have good offensive success with the first unit run there. So Melo just took it upon himself to be like, you know what, guys, I'm going to find my way for 30 real life basketball points here in this stint. And that's exactly what he did. So love betting on, guys like that in spots like that. BI comes all the way back to us, and so does Brandon Miller. This is back-to-back windmill picks for your boy here. Absolute windmill picks. I think Brandon Miller plays this evening. I don't think his minutes are limited as a thumb. I did not see anything of the starter's jersey variety or anything like that. So yeah. Our guy Randall, Rand all in. There we go. Like it. Like that. Like Randall in. Nice. He says he got a Luka Embiid Siakam team last night and thought it was rare. I still think it's very rare, man. I think it's very rare. Yeah. Wow, Eggers with some absolute alpha here. LeBron gets a special patch tonight where he debuted his career in Sacramento, and you think he's sitting. Wow, the special patch narrative. Thank you for the special patch narrative. Yes, where is Nez? Where is Nez? Special patch narrative. I don't, to be fair, I don't think he's sitting. I was just talking about like the Windhursts and the probables and the back-to-back, but I still believe they're 9-point favorites against the Kings with a bunch of old Kings guys who are playing the second night of a back-to-back. Luka could just decide that game's over in 3 quarters. Luka could take it upon himself to end that game in 3 quarters. And then who knows? LeBron gets a little good night's sleep and plays tomorrow. Quickly gets up to 26. I like that pick. DeRozan at 27. Kings still have not filed. Colin Murray Boyles for a scroll there. I like it. I like Ayton. I'm fine with it. I think Kata spot's okay. I think Levine's fine. I like Najee Marshall best though. I think Ayton's entirely viable. I think Levine is fine, but might draw a Q tag. I think Najee Marshall, if he's not going to be 100% owned, him and Ryan Nembhard look like really good last round picks for me. So I'm going to go ahead and take Najee Marshall on this one. Yeah. The Rays go back to Tropicana this year. I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know. Let's find out. Let's look it up on the X machine. I don't know. The team announced Wednesday it will return to an updated Tropicana field. Yeah, back at the Trop. So RIP Hitter's Paradise in for the Rays there. Wow. We're probably still going to be live in when the unabated projections come back out. So I'll circle back on that in the future here, but there is our team, guys. Sorry. There's our team. Luka, Embiid, Siakam, Brandon Ingram, Brandon Miller, and Najee Marshall. Very, very strong team. Yeah, I like that. All right, guys, it is time. When Dinger, now Dinger. I'm going to hop in. We're going to fill this thing up. $15 price point, 30-second clocks. It is a 2 out of 12. We got seven spots for friends and family. It is a 2 out of 12 like last year. Then a 1 out of 8, a 1 out of 9. So that 1 out of 9 wrinkle here, that's a tough one to get through. And then a 217-seat final. One more person here. Let's reset some of our macro principles. We will do this in a more constructive way in the future, but let's reset some of our macro principles. Starting with roster construction there. Roster construction. I just saved the file, did I not? Maybe I did not. Hold on 1 second. All right. Roster construction. courtesy of my guy, Billy Jones. Full draft structure plus EV years. There has been 4 years of plus EV usage of the 776. There's been 3 years of 677, 686, and 767 being plus EV. So our chalk build should probably be 776 based on this information, according to our guy, Billy Jones, aka Billy Baseball. Just made it up. But yeah, this feels good. There you go. There's your advance rate data. There's everything you want to tap into for that. Do a little screen grab. Cut that image out. I'll retweet whatever he's put out with it on there in the future. I will find it to share with you guys. All right, let's do the damn thing. Let's do it. Ooh, the Siege is in here with us. Jasta's in here. Shout out to Jasta, who put together the playoff schedule stuff in the Discord. Go ahead and pin this or bookmark this on your tabs. I just took his Excel spreadsheet and put it in a shareable Google Doc for everybody there. With the first selection of my Dinger season at the 109, we got Kyle Tucker without a team. We got Ellie De La Cruz, who stopped running a little bit last year. We got Julio Rodriguez, who just goes 30-30 every year for my Mariners. Let's go ahead and stay on brand and just go 30-30 Julio Rodriguez. Yeah, Julio Rodriguez, former boyfriend of women's national soccer player from Canada. Their good Canadian gal who plays on the Seattle team, no longer dating, but her best friend who plays on the team, who won the Olympic gold for the penalty kicks, is now married to Jeremy Pena. And Jeremy Pena has been spending a whole lot of time in Vancouver working out and training. So Jeremy Pena is he's a pseudo Vancouverite now because his wife is born and raised here. So my buddies were at the gym the other day and look over and it's just Jeremy Pena training and working out. Yeah, you guys don't think I know ball, man? That's deep cut 1-of-1 knowledge you'll only find here. All right, guys, let's do it. Let's stay on brand. I mean, this can't possibly be available forever, right? Like Yordan Alvarez, former potential 101 candidate, has one banged up year. I know his knees are older than time, but he might be the best pure hitting left-handed hitter in all of baseball. Best raw hitter in baseball, arguably. Let's go ahead and put him on our team. James Wood had a nice little ups and downs last year, had some high ceiling games there, breakout stuff. I think Gunnar Henderson's ADP should be way higher, but that's because he is an infield designation. James is asking, why is Rafi Devers listed as an outfielder? Because he was a DH. If his primary position last year was designated hitter and you played your most games at DH last year, that means you are outfield eligible the following year. So that's why Brent Rooker is also in outfielder there, because he played 130 whatever games. There you go. Brett Skinner is answering in the chat. It's because he played 133 games at designated hitter. Yes. That's why Kyle Schwarber is an outfielder as well. So like all these to strengthen the outfield playing pool, you get some of these guys who are not outfielders, but they're designated hitters. Yeah. All right. Our guy Purple Yosh rolling through, entering scramble mode. I like it. But yeah, can't wait to get in the Dinger streets. Yeah, we'll have to do something scrambled related here in a bit. Jaron Duran at 24 is fine. Pete Alonso is climbing. Joshua's in here. Travis is in here. Topes is in here with us. Woo woo J Train is in here. Holy smokes. This is truly a friends and family. There's James as well. JP Goalieman. Nice. This is a full friends and family draft here. Wow. Roman Anthony, 26. This is the all slappy team for Joshua here. I love it. Nick Paz, aka Nick Kurtz, at 23, and then Roman Anthony at 26. That is slappy slap. I love it. Wow, that's a nice start for Travioli there. Gets the Gunnar Henderson plus Juan Soto. People forget Juan Soto stole north of 30 bags last year. Attributes a lot of that success to the first base coach, who is a savant. Different landscape than last year, guys. We're getting 3 aces in round 2. Wow, definitely different there. Junior Caminaro, that's a fun click. Bryce Harper had the blood fusion, whatever. Riley Green seems fine. Jackson Morrell seems fine. Ketel Marte. Let's have a little fun here. Let's take Freddie Freeman and kind of queue up this Dodgers stack and stay the 30-year-old Dodgers are no longer washed. The 30-year-old Dodgers are no longer washed. We're putting Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman together on the right-hand side of the board. Woo Woo J Train saying that he's going to have damn near 0% on the top 5 pitchers. I don't love it, but it feels like the right thing to do structurally. I agree with you, my friend. I've always been a proponent of never starting pitcher. That being said, man, these are some big-time outliers that we're dealing with. Like Paul Skeens, Garrett Crochet, and Tariq Skubal are some big-time outliers. Man, how about the Skubal contract negotiation stuff right now? Arbitration, they come in like $12 million apart in arbitration. Like, who the fuck do the Tigers think they are? This guy's like Triple Crown, Cy Young, and you come in and you go like, oh yeah, he's worth like 20 mil. Like 20 sheets for this guy? Are you kidding me? He's the best fucking pitcher in baseball. Are we going to be eager for Seager again? I think so, man. He had one of the most underappreciated WRC plus seasons last year. Like, he was insane, man. He was insane. Oh. Respooked, what's good, my friend? Meridian M's to Houston. Then from there to Orlando. Sick, dude. Enjoy. All right. Love it when a plan comes together here. Junior Caminero goes there. Ketel Marte. I imagine like it's trending towards Ketel Marte just staying as a D-back, right? Let's go ahead and put Mookie Betts together. I think naturally as the recreationals join the player pool, you're going to see some stacking dynamics emerge, and you are going to see Freeman and Betts no longer be 3rd and 4th round picks. People are going to start doing like the put it with Ohtani, forcing some of that stuff together, right? I mean, if you want to get a couple just in your bag right now of Ohtani, Freeman, Betts to start, woo. Going to go ahead and drop the schedule in the chat for everybody. As we talk about stacking and we talk about the dynamics of, scoring in the postseason, inevitably one of the questions that always comes up is, do you have to stack in the Dinger? Sort of. I mean, it raises your floor and raises your ceiling, just like in the daily contests. Now, I mean, at isolated instances, it can lower the entirety of your floor, but stacking dynamics, they don't stem just from lineup spot correlation. They also stem to a series, right? Where it's like, hey, they beat up on the bullpen last night. Now they have an easier matchup the next day. Or they have a bullpen game the following day because they ran, 2 starters so short the previous day. Like there's implied benefits to stacking that aren't just like he drove in him, right? There's They all played in the same park. They all played against the same bad pitching staff. They all played, so there's a lot of wrinkles to the stacking dynamic. That being said, I kind of lean like 8 to 12 max stacked players, and I kind of cap it at 4 from team. Just throwing that kind of macro thesis out there. We'll get more deep in the weeds on that when we talk about it on Stacking Dingers and that sort of thing. But looking at the Dodgers right now, I'll put the schedule thing back in the chat here. Again, pin that. And again, Jasta's hanging out in the chat. Where's Jasta? I just saw his name pop up. Shout out to Jasta for putting this together for us. Late pitchers early in Dinger season, early pitchers late in Dinger season. I love that take. Love that take. Health is just such a proponent of us understanding, the value of pitchers. We could go ahead and add Teoscar Hernandez to this stack. Byron Buxton had a nice bounce back year last year as well. But I think let's start our staff. Fuck. I'm torn here. I'm torn. Let's start our staff with Cole Reagans. Cole Reagans got a little bit of the ace treatment last year. He missed a bunch of time, came back at the end of the season, was really effective when he came back. He has he's the kind of guy that I like to bet on, where it's like he has like the stuff, the pedigree, the metrics to be like just as serviceable an ace as like Garrett Crochet if everything breaks right for him. So he's like the archetype of a guy that I would love to start my staff with. The thing I was humming and hawing about there was if you just stack Teoscar and do a 3-man stack there with Teoscar, then you can just go ahead and take the falling pitcher. But I think Cole Reagans is a little bit of a leg up on like the Logan Gilberts and Brian Woos of the world, but I do really like both. Perdomo was a big riser. Michael Nelson Trout, my favorite baseball player, goes there. I think 2 starters feels good here. I think Corey Seager feels great here. We could stack Altuve as well. Kind of no wrong answers to the test here. Let's go with the starting pitcher here and kind of fortify our staff with 2 upper echelon aces in Cole Reagans and Logan Gilbert, both the archetypes of guys who, could jump into that next tier. Interested to see the Siege doing a 3-pitcher build to start here. Not something that I would be exercising, especially with Logan Webb at that price tag, but, always paying attention there. Coker barely got drafted, let alone paired with D-Rob. John's a scrolling sicko. Thank you. Yes, we did that Gauntlet Best Ball. That Gauntlet Best Ball team that we put together on the paywall stream there on, I guess it was, Thursday's show there. We paired a little bit of D-Rob and Coker on the same team. So hopefully those guys go together. Wonky Blues saying Reagans plus Gilbert feels like ADP stealing to start these early drafts. I agree with you, man. I agree with you. Yeah, you guys think Finding Value Fantasy coming in with Coker is going to be an 8th round pick in BBM? I could see it. I could see it. He outscored that entire receiving class. I think it was an Underdog tweet this morning where he outscored that entire receiving class in the first round of the playoffs there. Pretty sick tweet. It's like everyone from that receiving class, and he was the undrafted guy and outscored them all in the first week of the playoffs. This is why I keep going back to the tweet, guys. Weird shit fucking happens in sports, and we spend 4 months trying to put together the GM version of the Bills stack or the GM version of whatever stack, and you play one game of football and it just doesn't fucking matter, and we lose sight of that as we go. Yeah, the cokeheads eating in 2026. Well, cokeheads famously not eating. But in theory, In theory, the Jalen Coker drafters eating. Yes. Ben Rice, I was looking at some of the ADP data. If you guys go to Stacking Dingers, they did kind of like a look through on some of the ADP data. And yeah, I was just interested to see. He was a big time riser. Never Stephen Kwan. Blake Snell. I got a good Blake Snell story for you guys. Probably going to pass on him here. Let's take Vinny P. Vinny P, met him at the Dog Bowl there. Have a picture famously with my shirt off with Vinny P in the background here. Super cool dude. Let's get 30 home runs from Vinny P this year and see what happens. See what happens. Blake Snell, he runs in the off season some teams called the Zillas. And one of my former coaches, his kid's on one of those teams right now. And holy shit, is it cool, the coaches that are out there with Blake Snell. Like Blake Snell's going coaching staff and Howie Kendrick's out there as like the hitting coach for these like 13-year-old kids. Very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. Yeah, gotta love a little Vinny P Dog Bowl correlation. This is how we're trying our hardest this year. This is how we're trying our hardest. Davis saying that D Davis, our dirt bike guy, saying that Ben Rice is such a good best ball format, bro. He's either 0 or 18. Yeah, it's true, man. He's either yanking one over the short porch or he's not. This does seem like a really good little pocket for pitching, huh? Maybe I should have taken just one pitcher the previous round and then done like a Joe Ryan thing here. We could do bounce back Willie Adames a year, but I don't love it. Bo Bichette could rise in a big way, but man, I don't really want to have 4 infielders just yet. I think we take Elliot Ramos, get a full year of his power. We got the tool shed down here. People forget that the tool shed, aka LBJ, aka Bob, aka Luis Robert Jr., the tool shed. People forget he was leading the AL in steals. He was leading the AL in steals for like the first like 4 months of the season last year, like 30 something bags. And then they quietly shut him down. I'll be back in on the Luis Robert. Man, nobody gives up at bats. Nobody gives up at bats quite like Luis Robert Jr. Dude loves to swing at fucking everything outside of the zone and just whiff for days. Nobody gives up harder. All right. Yeah, Bo Bichette's still a free agent. Bo Bichette's going to skyrocket if he becomes a Yankee, guys. Like, Bo Bichette's not going to be available that high if he's a Yankee. I'm just not a big Bo Bichette believer. Like, the archetype of player, like, kind of accumulators, kind of like 20 home run guys, unless they're in good parks. Bo Bichette, Alex Bregman, like these kind of guys, these are not the guys that I would be giving like 5-7 year deals to. These guys that are like 270 to 290 hitters, they got like middling power. Like Bregman's been a Crawford box merchant for years. Like, I don't know. Brett coming in with some good stories here. Golfed with a group behind Benny Snell and Dr. Disrespect. That's pretty funny. Well, I said Benny Snell. That's funny too. Blake Snell. Blake Snell, as a dude who deep in the gaming weeds, right? Like deep gaming community guy there. So that makes sense that those guys were hanging out. Marcy gonna be nice. I'm good with it. I'm fine with it. I don't love chasing Marlins like just in a vacuum. Like that park is just so bad for hitting. Like, I don't love chasing homers, dudes. Now, if we look at the schedule and we see that the Marlins have, like, some favorable parks in the playoffs, sure. Oh, my God. The Marlins play the Mets and the Dodgers for 6 games at home in the final week of the season. The Marlins might score 8 fucking runs in 6 games. I might just X out Marlins right now. I might X out the Marlins forever right now. Honest to God. In the finals, they are at Kansas City. Not a great place to hit. Just a good large outfield. Terrible for home runs. Then they're at home against the Cubs, home against the Mets, home against the Dodgers. I might not draft another Marlin all season after seeing that. Not a single Marlin is getting drafted by me. Holy Andy Pajes's ADP. Okay. Let's have some fun, man. Jack Caglione. Let's have some fun. Come on down, baby. We got a solid stable of outfielders with Julio and Yordan Alvarez and Heliot Ramos. And now we have some fun with the little scroll. Jack Caglione, breakout season. Get a little stack equity with Vinny P. Love to see it. Love to see it. Dodgers only good hitting stadium. It's not at Dodger Stadium. It's at home, bro. It's at home. All of those games that I listed, they're going to be facing Mets pitching, Dodgers pitching at home. No, they're not hitting a home run off fucking anybody. Solid team. Thank you. Thank you. Here we go. Yeah, the infield clicks just seem so comfy. Yeah. They seem so comfy right now. Trey Savage goes there. Nolan McLean's going to be on the World Baseball Classic team for Team USA. So interested to see what he looks like out there. Torkelson, former 1-1. Yandy Diaz, a favorite of the show here. Bryce Terang's power was fake. Dude, let's take Dylan Cruz. Why not? What do you guys think? Let's take Dylan Cruz. Do we need another pitcher? Like Pablo feels pretty discounted right now. Nah, let's fuck around and find out. Let's have some fun. Let's take Dylan Cruz, man. Let's get a full year of Dylan Cruz and see what it looks like. Let's have some fun. All Mets pitchers will be injured by then. Love that. You can get a healthy ace in the last round of the Dinger still. Wow. Wow. Okay. I mean, you know, as we pivot from football brain to baseball brain, we just have to remember how effing deep it is. It is so deep. So deep. You know? So many viable options late. So many viable options. Jacob Wilson with an ADP of 147. Jacob Wilson versus Colson Montgomery is a sweet 1v1. And you guys know what side of the fence I'm on. That is going to be a fun debate with Nez. I was trying not to say it out loud, but both this Pablo Lopez and Yuri Perez ADPs, those fucking slap. Those are good. Those are good picks. I think George Kirby's a really nice pick too. Jacob Mizrowski has an electric high ceiling, but a little bit scared of the innings there. Shea Bangliers. I mean, stacking Athletics. Let's see how many games Athletics have at home. Athletics play Toronto and Seattle, so 2 tough pitching staffs, but both at home for the final week. They have 6 games at home to close out. So you'd like softer matchups than that, especially when the week before they have 4 games at Seattle. So that's not ideal. Murakami goes at 114 there to the White Sox homer. A little stack for Jasta between Lou Bob and him. Bryce Terang goes at 125. Bryce Terang was a absolute anomaly with the home runs last year. Pajes doesn't make it back to us. Chase Burns definitely has a big time ceiling. I think I like Michael King though. I think Michael King, we've seen some ceiling from him. The innings will be way safer for Michael King than Chase Burns. Robbie Ray's fine too. Robbie Ray's fine here as well. Let's take Michael King. Shout out to our guy Brett in the chat. I think both Ray and King were fine there. Paid saying that World Series odds are Dodgers, then who the fuck knows? That's good. Got to make my first Dinger team a White Sox team. I respect it. More Cammy's flying up boards, making me sad. I got so much in the bullpen. Yeah, I loved his interview. Power. What do you bring to that power? Miller time cashed out a streak for 2.4. Love to see it. Congrats, my guy. There you go. Little bankroll builder. All right. We got ourselves a 3-3-5 through 11 rounds. Marcus Semien, the newest Met here. Just kind of a model of consistency. Slight park downgrade for him. Man, there's some big time arms around here too. I kind of want to take Colston Montgomery right now, but I don't want to take it away from my guy Jasta because he's doing it. He's doing his thing out there. Let's take Kerry Bonds, baby. Maybe they'll let him play against lefties. Maybe they won't. But who's got a higher ceiling on a night to night basis than Kerry Bonds, aka Kerry Carpenter? Let's see here. Detroit Tigers at home versus Minnesota, at home versus Colorado in the finals, at Minnesota, at Cleveland. So the nice things I can say is at least left-handed power plays better in both Minnesota and Cleveland than right-handed power. And neither of those pitching staffs have an abundance of lefty starters right now. So that's probably a good thing for the Kerry Bonds in the finals matchup. Yeah, and then Colorado's just ass. But you'd prefer, obviously, if those games were in Colorado. Let's do the in Colorado thing for a second here. Rockies have first week of the finals, Baltimore and the Cardinals are in Colorado. And the Dodgers and Cleveland in round 3 are in Colorado. Athletics? No, my eyes fooled me. Tampa Bay in Colorado for 3 games. So Coors Field has 9, 12, 15. Coors Field has 15 games in the playoffs. And that is a total of... Yeah, so about half of the games in the playoffs, the Rockies play at home, but none of them are the second week. They're all first week games. First round, 3 against Tampa Bay. Second round, 3 against the Dodgers, 3 against the Guardians. Last round, 3 against Baltimore, 3 against St. Louis. All right. Yo, Pade's asking about World Baseball Classic. I fucking love the Naylor brothers. Like, I love that they're going to play and stuff like that. I haven't looked at the roster yet, to be honest. Like, is Freddie Freeman playing? Is Freddie Freeman good Canadian kid? Okay, let me get on my high horse again. for dunking all over the Jays fans for the whole media campaign they run and like, oh yeah, our guy Vlad, he's gonna be here forever. He's Canadian. He barely fucking speaks English. He sure as shit doesn't speak French, and he plays for the Dominican Republic. If he's Canadian, why is he not playing for World Baseball Classic for Team Canada? Fucking idiots, man. Born in Montreal for like a week. Gone for his whole life. Then came back to Toronto because they drafted him. That's it. Josh Naylor. That's a good Canadian kid, bro. All right, Kerry Bonds is here. Wow, Ozzie Albies just available here for a bounce back year. Christian Walker available for a bounce back year. Dalton Varsho, we're probably done at outfield. Man, do we just take a shot on Garrett Cole here? You guys hit me with a health report on Garrett Cole. I mean, if this guy pitches from May onward, like that's absolute theft, right? Damn. No Freddie Freeman? Dang. Canada's definitely a decent roster, iffy rotation. Yeah, it's kind of evergreen for them. We'll look at it in a bit here. I'm actually looking to go to the World Baseball Classic a little bit there because I don't know what I'm going to do, but the Dog Bowl, NBA Dog Bowl in LA overlaps with the start of World Baseball Classic. And if it was in San Diego, I would have just like gone right down after, but it's in Houston. So it's just like a hop, skip, and a jump from LA. So was thinking about that, but then I got some buddies who are going on a golf trip in Florida in March there that I was maybe like, oh, I could jump on with that and then go to some of the games. But I think Canada is going to be playing in Puerto Rico if I read the schedule right. And then, yeah. Interesting question here. What's more likely to happen? Josh Naylor stealing 30 bags or Terang hitting 20 home runs? Yeah, that's a really tough one. I mean, the nice thing you can say is at least the Mariners let him run. What do you guys think about Addison Barger? That seems fun, right? I love me some Addison Barger. I do think it's probably one more pitcher here. Rodon's fine. Nola's fine. Flaherty's fine. Evaldi's fine. Let's have some fun. Let's take Rodon. Rodon seems pretty safe, right? That feels like a pretty good staff right now. This team feels good, but it might also just because we're getting like warm and fuzzy, like household names. Yeah, Addison Barger is a dude, man. Like no one would be surprised if Addison Barger hits 35 this year, right? Yeah, I thought about Rogers there too. That's one of those trades that has just aged well for both sides, right? Like Trevor Rogers has been good. That aged well for both sides. I didn't realize how good Trevor Rogers was down the stretch last year. A little Goodman to Tovar stack. Tovar, some potential 2020 candidate in Coors Field. That seems fun. Yeah, this is a tough question because like Naylor was allowed to run and he ran wild with it. And he's like not the fastest dude in the world, but he's like the cliche good base runner, you know, like, oh yeah, he gets good secondary leads. You know, he got delayed steals. He reads the back foot better than other people. Like, you know, he's like that cliche dude. Terang's just like, man, I don't think he's got that juice. I think he just had that super hot month where he ran into like 9 home runs or whatever. And it was just insane. I think it was August last year where he had like 9 or 10 home runs in the month of August. And it was just like, okay, I guess. I don't know. The nice thing you can say about Terang is he probably hits near the top of the order. He probably doesn't platoon. And when he was a platoon risk in the past, plus he could steal 40 bags. Plus he left-handed power plays considerably better than right-handed power in that ballpark. So those are all the nice things you could say about him. But yeah. Yeah, there you go. Average 91 exit velocity, 47 hard hit. Like that's just not what you bet on, right? Like if you're going like who's this year's Willy Adames, guys? Like that's the guy we got to figure out. Like everyone with a brain hit on Willy Adames last year, right? They're like, no way he can go 30 home runs again, going to San Francisco, like got paid to go to San Francisco, blah, blah, blah. Like it was such an anomaly, his accumulating stats, because he had like the most 3-run home runs in the history of like baseball or some shit like that. The year before he tied the record. Like it was just such an anomaly. Like who's this year's Willy Adames that we're just going to like shit all over and like be like, yeah, that's like the biggest regression candidate ever. I mean, nobody wants to hear it, but you want to hear a crazy one? I don't necessarily believe it, but they're going back to the Trop, and you take those wall scrape home runs out for Junior Caminero. What if you take 10 home runs off of Junior Caminero? I don't even believe that one. I just had to say it for spicy value. Brandon Lau is a terrible park change. Adley Rutschman, that's good name value buried down here. This does look like another little pitcher pocket. Shota feels good. I think Shota's a tier above. Like Roki Sasaki, like how many innings could he truly pitch as part of the starting rotation? You know? But like, look at the name difference. You get Shota here, or you can get like journeyman Yusei Kikuchi, Ranger Suarez. We don't even know what park he'll be in. Lodolo, the strikeout rate took a hit last year. Although the park did play better for pitching this year. Shane Bieber's kind of nice, but like, does he have 180 innings in him? I don't know. Matthew Boyd bounced back last year, was good. Yeah, it kind of falls off a little bit. I mean, Cade Horton was on pace to win Rookie of the Year, and Conley Early could win Rookie of the Year this year. Yeah. But I have my next pick already made up in my mind. Yeah, pitching feels so deep right now. Yeah. Yeah, like Sasaki was used out of the bullpen. Like, yeah, he's getting the David Price treatment of 2000, whatever, 10, whatever it was. Who are some of your guys' favorite teams to backstack? Like, I admittedly, I haven't been crazy stacky with this team. And this is kind of like a traditional build for your boy where it's like, we're kind of lazily going about like, okay, outfield early, late ace, then build a staff. Then we're going to do, the infield late backstack here. Keeshaw's like a good baseball player, but I hate that ballpark for him because I don't think he's got like big league power, Brandon Lau, I don't know why he still goes this high. I don't know. Maybe we'll look at some of the other options, but like Pittsburgh's where like power goes to die. It's like the 101 worst park for power. So I don't know. Maybe left-handed power plays better there. Salvi stacks, but he's old as fuck. Adley Rutschman is fine. If we're going to take a catcher, we may as well take the one who hits 4 and stacks, and we take Will Smith. Kind of a fun team thus far. We got 3 stacked Dodgers. We got 2 stacked Kansas City Royals. Late stack Cardinals once again. All right. Woo Woo J Train saying Twins Cardinals. And I'm gonna come when I say this. Maybe some White Sox are fun backstacks. I mean, I like the White Sox take, man. Like, White Sox are kind of a mystery box, and that ballpark plays up for power late in the season, right? So, like, Colson Montgomery, like, he was leading all of the world in home runs in the second half, right? So you get a full year of Colson Montgomery and just hope he hits 30. Murakami hits 30. What do you think? 25, 30? So you're getting some big-time power. We know Vargas has power. We know Luis Robert Jr., whatever. He's a wild card. Benintendi's fine as a last-round pick. Lynn Sosa probably doesn't play enough to matter, but we like him. Kyle Teal, Man, like Kyle Teal's got big time power. Like we don't love taking catchers, but like what if he is a designated hitter like half of the time? Yeah, man. If you do a little like Montgomery Teal stack, like Vargas Teal. I mean, I'm hung up on Teal right now, but like, yeah. Yeah, is Adley gonna lose playing time? Wow, that's crazy to think. Salo's good, right? I don't know. I haven't thought that far down the rabbit hole, but that's a really good point. I mean, it's hard to think that like a former 1-1 style prospect who's 27 or how old's Adley? 26, 27, 28, somewhere in there now. Switch hitting catcher. Surely he's not going to lose playing time, right? I don't know. Yeah, that's tough. Man, there's a couple bounce back candidates at the bottom here. Couple bounce back candidates I'm staring in the face right now. Luis Arias doesn't have a baseball team yet. Cedric Mullins and Lars Nootbaar. Woo, baby. Matt Wallner down here. Jordan Walker, Max Muncy. We could just go super stacking Dodgers again. They're all free. Salvi stacks, which is fine. Let's have some more fun, though. Let's take a swing on Vientos. Let's say the power returns for Vientos. That was another one that every smart person in the community was on last year. Was like, yeah, man, Vientos. Like Vientos is just like a dude that was going to be a positive regression candidate. Where it's just like, yeah, man, those numbers were not sustainable. Like 27 home runs on the amount of bats he had versus like and the power that he was showing in limited samples. Okamoto goes. Toronto's addition of a super utility player. My buddy said to me yesterday that why sign Bregman when you can just sign Okamoto? I don't know if he's just a biased Blue Jays fan, but I think there was probably some truth to it. Okay, gotta think Basalo mostly DH. Hmm. Yeah. But with PvP now, Adley will lose more time. Yeah, just because like the framing nature of catching doesn't matter as much. Is that our thought process? All right. You guys know I'm a sucker to get hurt again. You know I want Max Payne. How about Matt McLean doesn't even have an ADP? This guy was like a third round pick a couple years ago. Fucking take Matt McLean, bro. Take Matt McLean and see what happens. Let's start the scrolling early this year. Let's give Matt McLean an ADP in the dinger. Dealt with the double oblique things. Still scored 900 fantasy points last year. Jonathan India stacks for us. Ryan McMahon, like that's such good left-handed power in Yankee Stadium. Carlos Correa lineup and park upgrade again. Ryan O'Hearn got a raw deal on his landing spot. Jake the Rake Burger. Why can't he hit 30 nukes again? Colt Keith. We go lefty stacking. Colt Keith with Kerry Bonds. Connor Norby. Brian Bellows all the way down here. All right. Who's in the chat right here? Bryce Eldridge going undrafted. That's a good shout. That's a fun little stack one, too. Do we take Bryce? Stack him up with Heliot Ramos? Burger Carter backstack? That's fun. Yes, Brett, delete your message, dude. I know we know where this was going all the way around. Nitty DGen asking favorite sleeper. Honestly, man, I fired this draft up today. I looked at it for 10 minutes before we went live, and I haven't got that far yet. I honestly haven't got this deep yet. I'm still familiarizing myself with what's going on. Wow, Dustin May on the Cardinals sighting. Little ball knowing. People like Snelling, hey? Snelling goes at 219 there. People are in on Snelling. Emmerich Sheehan? Sheehan goes at 217. And Cam Schlittler goes at 139. How different are those two? How different are those two? They go almost 100 picks apart. All right, here you go. This one's for my guy, Brett. Oh, he's gone, dude. Oh, no. He's gone. Now we got to panic. Fine. Shane McClanahan. We're not even going to have any fun. Grayson Rodriguez, what's his timeline like? Started mound working January. Don't love elbows. They could also be out of contention late and like have restrictions on them. Yeah. Damn, that I missed the. I told you to delete your comment because I was like, we're taking the Joe Musgrave, aka Joe Must Groove It. There he is, 205. That's a good pick. Good home ballpark. Seems good. Yeah, Sheehan this late's nuts. That's what my reaction was. Do I expect to draft a lot early? Yes, I do. Especially just out of necessity. I'll be drafting dingers instead of playoff returns contests for sure. Lopez. We're doing the Reed Detmers thing for the 7,000th year in a row. We're doing the Reed Detmers thing. I guess. Max Muncy stacks. Jonathan India stacks. Ryan McMahon's like fine, but I'd probably prefer it in a stack. Luis Garcia is kind of always just like middling. Who's still available on the Nationals? Nothing fun. Remember when Brady House was supposed to be a thing? Oh my God, I can't spell. Panicking. Detroit. Wow, Parker Meadows is free. I mean, maybe he strings the season together. Winslow Perez. Pretty good year last year. Muncy's the leader in the clubhouse. Marte for the red stack. Noelve. All right. Let's take Noelve. I famously did say it sounds different coming off his bat. All right, we'll take a little Noelve plus Matt McLean stack. We could have done Mets as well. Francisco Alvarez, Brett Beatty. Nothing overly fun left there. What about Houston? We could have done Carlos Correa. Carlos Correa is a good pick. So is Yanier Diaz. You want to pack stack Houston, Yordan in the second round, and then Carlos Correa and Yanier Diaz with your last two picks. That's good. Cam Smith available? Man, what if Cam Smith just plays every day? Cam Smith could be this year's... that was going to be too crazy. I was going to say he was going to be like this year's Junior Caminero, but no. Like the upside with the Marte and the Reds. I mean, here's one thing, guys. Winhurst up on... here you go. Give me 1 second. Stat. It's Go StatCast, Park Factors. Okay. Just last year, let's see. Am I blind? Reds, man. Dude, we think about Great American Ballpark as like Great American Small Park. Like nobody was hitting home runs there, dude. Nobody was scoring runs there. Like it was okay, but like, man, I think they nerfed the balls in like a couple parks and then they overcompensated in a couple others. Like last year, Sutter Health was insane and George Steinbrenner was insane. Like those were the ones we were jamming on the daily slates. And then last year, man, the Reds shit really fell off. And like the pitching was like surprisingly not terrible there too. Like guys just weren't hitting the ball hard. It's weird, man. Like look at this shit. Worst park for hard hit rate last year was the Reds. Yeah, like the Reds as a team just didn't hit any home runs. That's fair. But like how much of that can be attributed to the park? Because like Spencer Steers got pop, Ellie's got pop. Who was the right-handed first baseman that I loved for a bit there? Not you guys are going to say Christian Encarnacion Strand, but I'm thinking one layer deeper. Reds. Who was it? Sal Stewart. Sal Stewart we were playing in like the dailies. Who's got pop? I don't know. Cam Smith seems like a good pick, guys. Yeah, Sal Stewart. There you go. Yeah, they're so bad at manipulating the balls, man. Joshua's 100% right. Like, yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is the counter, right? Like Matt's saying like, yeah, Reds are just bad hitting, good pitching team in a hitter's park. And that like artificially inflates a 1-year sample of the numbers. I could hear that argument for sure. I think that's like a good point. I will undoubtedly give you that point. But yeah. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, just messing around with park factors from last year. Like Dodger Stadium was so good for home runs, but it's also like, yeah, they also just like have the best home run hitting players in the world. Like, so there's like some push pull. Baltimore was better with like bringing in the wall in right field. Rogers Center played up, but it played up better for lefties. Remember that? Yeah. Citizens Bank is kind of like the Dodgers argument, where it's like they just had good home run hitting players too. Anyways, we'll get deep down the rabbit hole on a whole bunch of this. For now, guys, Stacking Dingers has some stuff up on the site and a couple shows there. Gonna drop that in there for you guys. Yeah, so taking a look at that. Also going to drop the schedule again in there one last time so you guys can pin it on your bookmarks and stuff like that. Maybe I'll add a little like color coding to it or whatever for like the good matchups or the perceived good park factors or something like that. Also go take a look at Billy Jones. Let me take a look here. Where's Billy Jones's tweet machine here? Where's my guy? Here you go, guys. Sports Viz BJ. There you go. So you guys can take a look at some of those Billy Jones charts that he put up there. I'll see if I'll scroll down here if I can find the ones he tweeted earlier. There's the ADP updates. Some of the most recent episodes. Maybe the charts were for my eyes only. But surely they're out here somewhere. Maybe he put it in one of the Stacking Dingers articles. Anyways. Here. I'll display it here. There's the structures, full draft structures, and the advance rates associated with them for dingers. So screen grab that right now if you would like and mess around. But effectively, 776 has kind of proven to be our base build. Yeah, and it's been the most successful in terms of advance rate data. So that's kind of fun. Yeah. Justin saying that he did 150 of the MLB earlies and has 75% Zebby Matthews. Wow. That's some conviction, bro. That's some conviction. I mean, Zebby Matthews, good strikeout rate, big time prospect, good home ballpark. I mean, surely like Simeons Wood, Richardson, and those guys aren't going to like take away starts from him if he pitches well. So I'm here for it. 75% of any pitcher is extremely high variance, though. But I'm not going to fault you if you want to take on some of that risk. Yeah, having that 2-start pitcher in the finals would be key. Actually, let's look at one last thing. Total games here. Anyone jumping out? The Rays have 2 sevens. Nationals have 2 sevens. Phillies have 2 sevens. Braves only having 5 in week 1 of the finals is kind of concerning, I guess. Athletics 7-7. Astros was 7. Yeah. There is a little bit of nuance. I mean, we'll go into it in depth, but there's a little bit of nuance in starting pitcher stacking. So like taking 2 starters to like from like insert team that you think has good ballpark, good matchups, good pitchers. So let's use the Mariners, for instance. Best place in the world to pitch. Maybe they have home games. It's really easy to stack like 4 pitchers together. And then you could roll a 2-start week in the finals, because the dirty little secret about pitching is pitching doesn't fucking matter unless someone rolls a nutted 2-start week, or unless one of the aces has a 2-start week and laps the field in the finals, right? So that's the dirty little secret, right? We saw a little touching tribute with a Gavin Sheets scroll there. We see Travioli. We talked so long about Basalo that he finally just clicked him. Love to see it. Yeah, we're going to do some more research on the player pool and figure shit out. But our first dinger, a 776. Cole Reagans, Logan Gilbert, Michael King, Garrett Cole, Carlos Rodon, Shota Imanaga, and Shane McClanahan. I mean, that's fucking nasty. Like, that just sounds great on paper, but we know the volatility in pitching, guys. One little elbow strain, one little, I'm a little bit behind on my timeline in spring training, and the value pendulum of starting pitching shifts more drastically than even running backs do, right? Our infield, a bunch of veteran-laden bounce-back candidates at the top there, a little bit long in the tooth, though, with Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, and Will Smith stacking up. Vinny P for the Dog Bowl correlation stack. Mark Vientos for a bounce back, and then a cheeky scroll the F down, Matt McLean and Noelvi Marte not fully giving up on the Reds yet. Julio Rodriguez, Yordan Alvarez, bounce back, stay healthy one time, please, please. And Heliot Ramos are kind of like the anchors of the outfield. And then Jack Caglione, Dylan Cruz, and Kerry Bonds rounding things out for some ceiling shot back end guys. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Joel saying that the Garrett Crochet's monster final Sunday cost me the bunt championship last year. I mean, that's what the ability of the upper echelon pitching has to do, right? They have the ability to separate. And reminder that pitching scoring in best ball format is different than in our daily scoring, where it's like in our daily scoring format, pitching truly does not matter because, you know, you get 8 or 9 pitchers. It's kind of like tight end. You get 8 or 9 points from your pitcher, and as long as your stack goes nuke, your stack's going to outscore your pitcher times a million every single time. But in our version of best ball here, you know, that they can really lap the field by putting up, you know, 45, 50 fantasy points and being like, wow, that was a week's worth of home runs from Matt McLean, right? So, yeah. All right, guys, a lot of fun there. Great show. Thank you for being here 2.5 hours. Best of luck to Nezzy Takes and his Steelers this evening. Best of luck to all of you in the NBA streets today. I have my push notifications on, and we still do not have a Sacramento Kings injury report, so be mindful of what's going to transpire there for the older team on the back-to-back there. Appreciate you guys having a friends and family dinger to kick off the season here. Back tomorrow. Unconfirmed what we will be doing tomorrow, but definitely tackling the basketball slate. I think there's 6 or 7 games tomorrow, so we'll do basketball for sure tomorrow, and then maybe a little something else. Yeah, there you go. Go Texans instead. There you go. All right, guys. Everybody's favorite time of the show. The end. Peace. Much love.